Mission.
Hi, this is Joel Persinger. I'm the Gun Guy. Thank you very much for all of your support on GunGuyTV. I really do appreciate it. By the way, I want to remind you to check us out on these alternative locations as well, because we are no longer prisoners of YouTube. We've actually added a new one, gunstreamer.com, so check us out there. The entire channel has been duplicated on Gunstreamer, so you can subscribe there as well if you like. I do urge you to check out one of them, because that way if something happens to us on YouTube, you know where you can find us. We could always disappear on YouTube without much notice. All right, I wanted to show you a video I found, and I kind of stumbled on it, with a guy named G Money. That's his little channel, and it's a very small channel, which is why I'm copying the video for you here. I want to make sure that gun owners in California particularly, and frankly gun owners anywhere, know that this is happening. California, in case you don't know, not long ago had 1 week of freedom, one, in which we could actually buy regular magazines for our firearms rather than the ones that only hold 10 rounds, which is what we're normally limited to. So during that week we could buy them, and then the judge stayed his decision while it went through the rest of the appellate court process. But if the magazines were purchased during that week, they're legal. They're legal to possess and they're legal to use. Still, some police officers in California confiscate them anyway. Well, that's what happened to this young man. And then once confiscated, they're almost impossible to get back. I have a bunch of issues with that, not least of which is that cops ought to know what the law is before they try to enforce it, particularly when it has been publicized all over the place. So it's very difficult for me to imagine that a police officer doesn't know that those magazines are legal. That's just hard to accept. Secondly, I think if they're confiscated and it turns out that they were legal, they need to be immediately returned, not held through bureaucracy and made impossible to retrieve. And third, I think police officers who confiscate property without due process when things are not illegal ought to be held personally responsible for having done so. And if they are held personally responsible, perhaps they won't do this anymore. So before I show you the video, let me read you what it says in the Fifth Amendment to the United States Constitution. Nor be deprived of what? Life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. It is unconstitutional for police officers to just confiscate property because they think it might be illegal, and then for the county, city, state, or whatever to make it so impossibly difficult for you to get your property back that you might as well just give up. Well, that's what happened to this young man. So let me show you the original video. As I said, there's a link for the video in the description if you want to go watch the original one. And I urge you to check out this guy's channel. I don't know what he's got there, but I want to support him for being bold enough to put this on YouTube. So check it out.
How's it going, guys? As you can tell by the video, this video is going to be about what happens when you go out shooting or get cited for having high capacity magazines in the state of California. So a buddy and I, we recently got our standard capacity and high capacity magazines taken away. We had, I mean, there was different magazines, Glock, AR, AK. I even had a 60 round drum, all bought within Freedom Week. Okay. Sheriff tells us, hey, these are illegal. We tell him about Freedom Week. He's unaware of Freedom Week. He takes our property away, right? This is in Ventura County. I'm probably going to throw in a picture of our citation here. But our case was rejected. When we went to the clerk, my clerk said, looks like your case has not been filed. You're gonna get a notification in the mail as to what's gonna happen. I was like, all right, cool. My buddy, they say there was like a problem with his address, and that he had to go to the DA's office, you know, to get that figured out. We both go to the DA's office. They check up his stuff for his address, and they said the clerk there said that his case was rejected. Okay. And then she looked up my stuff since I was there with him. She said that mine was rejected as well. We tell her that our property was taken away, and how do we retrieve them? She told us there was a sheriff's office in another building, which was literally just across the street, really. So we go there. Here's a picture of it. And we use their little phone that's in front of the building to communicate with the people on the inside. They tell us, well, it looks like we don't have any authorization to release anything to you guys or have them. So that we were supposed to call the city that we were in, where we got cited and got our property taken away. We called them. It's a lady detective. She says that because of the law, she is not allowed to give them to us because of the believe it's like PC 3023108 or something like that. And then she spoke. She wasn't a gun person. She says, "Let me speak to my partner." Her partner is right next to her. She says, "Well, my partner says because anything over 10 rounds is illegal, I cannot give them to you unless you guys, want to." Basically, what we have to do is open the case back up, get a lawyer, and tell them everything that happened. Is it worth the money and hassle to do so? Absolutely not. So we're not going to do that. We're just going to have our stuff taken away because, it's just magazines, really. But this is absolutely terrible. Freedom Week was awesome, and to get our stuff taken away, it just sucks. We had to pay a premium to purchase them, and it's honestly ridiculous because I spent quite a bit, a couple $100, of course. So did my buddy, and now we have our stuff taken away. And the state of California sucks so much. It's just absolutely terrible. So if you get your stuff taken away, don't expect to get them back. I don't know if you can somehow fight it on the spot of being cited or getting your stuff taken away, but do your best to not get them taken away because California will not give them back. All right? If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave something in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them. All right?
All right, so here's just some straightforward advice for you, and you're not going to like it, and I don't like it either. Those magazines are legal in the state of California. Nevertheless, here's my advice. Don't use them in the state of California. There's a few things I'm aware of that are happening. One is the stuff that's happened to this young man. Magazines are being confiscated by police officers who happen to see them and know about them, and who either don't know the law or say they don't know the law and confiscate them anyway. And then it's just impossible to get them back. You've lost your property, and you're kind of stuck in the bureaucracy where it costs more to hire an attorney and get the property back than the property is worth, so people just give up. And law enforcement knows that, and the state know that. So my advice is don't use those magazines in the state of California. Here's the other thing that's happened, and it's happened a number of times, and it seems to continue happening, is guys they take their magazines, they go to the range, and they shoot like crazy, and they have fun, and maybe they're shooting really, really fast on an indoor range or a public range, and the person next to them is somehow disturbed by that. So they get their phone out, they take a picture of the guy that's shooting, and then they follow them out to their car when they leave, and they take a picture of the car and a picture of the license plate, and they submit an anonymous tip to the California Department of Justice. Then the California Department of Justice goes out and knocks on that person's door and says, "I understand you have this gun, and that you were shooting this gun with this magazine at this range. Can we look at that?" So often people, when they're asked that question, go, "Well, yeah, that's my gun. I have that gun." And then if there's anything illegal with that gun, you're going to lose it, and you could find yourself in jail. That's what's happening right now. It's terrible to think that somebody at a public range is going to snitch on you like that and take a picture and put a tip out for the law enforcement to follow up on, but they do. Now, I'm not accusing the range owners or range staff of that. I would be stunned if they did that. But if you're talking about a public range where the general public goes, this kind of stuff is happening. I know of one range here in San Diego where that's happened, and it certainly was not the range staff, but some visitor at the range narked out some other guy, and he ended up losing all of his guns, or losing at least the ones that they found that didn't fit the description of what California likes. So my advice is this: if it's questionable at all in the state of California, don't use it in California. Drive to your neighboring state if that's what you got to do. Or if you have a friend who has private property that you can be on that's his property or her property, or you are a member of a private shooting club or something, then go shoot there. But don't do it in public where the general public can see you and have the cops come get you, or where the cops are going to be strolling around the range, or whatever the case might be. This stuff all goes wrong. This should not be happening in California, and I urge you to make noise about it. That's what I'm doing right now. Once again, the link for the original video is in the description, as well as a link for the guy's channel. Thank you very much for watching. I apologize. I'd like to get back to doing some shooting videos, which I do plan to do today, and we'll get those out. But this nonsense needs to be passed along as well. Have a great day, wherever you go, whatever you do. Please be safe.